Hiya, Ellie from Pink Pig here. Today we are talking about recharging expenses to clients. So some of us are lucky enough to have work that we do for clients that might mean that we have to get ourselves a hotel or a cheeky McDonald's breakfast while we're working. Of course, we would never, take the mick, but there are times where it's appropriate and agreed beforehand with the client that any expenses incurred will be recharged to them along with the cost of our services. So it can be a bit tricky to know how to invoice these things. You might think, is this going to affect my profit? Am I going to end up paying more corporation tax? Am I going to pay more VAT? Am I going to lose out? So here we've just put a quick guide together to help you sort of know how to recharge these expenses and how it's going to affect your business. So firstly, there are sort of two types of expenses that you could charge to a client, and that is an expense and a disbursement. And they are treated differently, so it is important to know which is which. So a disbursement is a direct cost, so it's been paid by the business, but it is solely for the use of the client on behalf of the client. So an example of this might be a solicitor who has paid the court fees. That's only affected the client. Or a web designer who pays for the domain name. That is fully for the use of the client. So yeah, if the client is the only one who's benefited from it, then it's just a simple case of charging the exact amount that you've paid back to the client, and that will obviously equate out, and that income will not go into your business income. So an expense then is anything that you've had to purchase in order to supply the service to your client, but it might, it's included you as well. So that hotel we talked about, any food you've had to buy, obviously that's not solely for the client. So if you are VAT registered, you need to charge VAT on expenses that you recharge to the customer, same as you would on your cost of sales. And it's really important to know that this applies whether or not the original purchase had VAT on it, which obviously if it did, you'll be able to claim that back as normal, so you won't lose out there. But for example, you might be claiming mileage, which is 45p per mile in most cars, or 5p per mile for an electric vehicle. So whilst that expense itself does not have VAT on it, when you're paying that back to yourself from the business, when you are charging it to the customer as a VAT registered business, you will need to add on the additional 20%. So a simple way to make sure you're doing this right is to invoice the pre-VAT amount of all the purchases. So it might be a hotel that's got 5% VAT or 12.5 we're at now. It might be, food that's got no VAT, mileage claim that hasn't got any VAT, something else that's got 20%. That can get a bit confusing. So take all of the net figures, the pre-VAT figures, and then charge an additional 20% on that, because that's the VAT for your services. So I hope that makes sense. Just know that you're never going to lose out by recharging expenses to clients as long as you do it correctly. So as long as it's been coded correctly in your bookkeeping, had the right VAT treatment, been coded correctly as an expense or a disbursement, then what you receive back from the customer will always equate. It's not going to affect your profit, and it's not going to affect your corporation tax. But yeah, just always remember there's two sides to the equation. So in order for this to work well for both sides, you need to ensure that the expense that your business has paid out matches the reimbursement from the client, and that it's been coded correctly through your business. So the bookkeeping side might be something you're not super familiar with. So of course, if you've got any questions or you'd like some help, you can always reach out to us by emailing directly or by filling in the Work With Us form on our website. Thank you.